Hello and good morning. This is Michael Murphy, and I'm a solution to architect with Red Hat. And today what I want to do is I want to just kind of go over the architecture diagram and a little bit about the environment that we set up for you today. So this is a lab, and within that lab we've set one single host server to contain the entire lab for simplicity. And within this lab we have a physical server, and that will control the entire environment. Within that physical server, we are then going to have sub VMs, which are going to be the architecture and the kind of layout of the entire environment. The first VM that's probably the most important is the undercloud, and this is what's going to then separate or spin off and create the rest of the VMs for the environment. So that sits directly on the host server, and that's utilizing KVM. Now, underneath that undercloud server, and as the diagram shows, they're all connected. We're going to start with 3 controller nodes, and those are the HA kind of controller environment that will direct the rest of the OpenStack installation. And those are represented in the diagram here. Additionally, we have 2 compute nodes. Each of these compute nodes is going to be separated into its own host aggregate or availability zone. So the first one would be AZ1 and the second one would be AZ2, designated by US West and US East. Within the rest of the environment, we have 3 Ceph nodes indicated here, and those are going to take and be the backend for both Glance and Cinder. So we have Ceph utilizing both Glance and Cinder in the backend. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and take you through the solution proposal that I've created here. Let me just open it. Just to show that we have hit on all of the points that that we were looking to do throughout the lab and the lab environment. So today what we're utilizing is the Red Hat Enterprise Linux Open Platform, OpenStack platform. It's a highly scalable public cloud infrastructure for cloud-ready workloads. Now, we did not integrate CloudForms into this environment because that wasn't part of the goals. In a more full-featured environment, we probably would have done a full Red Hat CloudForms suite, which would have added in some automation. This is just an overview of kind of our product platforms and our product suites, kind of a theory of how things could reach out to other parts of the products that we use, whether we wanted to integrate public cloud services with somebody like Amazon, whether we were going to connect and touch a VMware environment, an existing VMware environment, whether we're going to use Red Hat Satellite for provisioning and subscription management. Although it's not integrated into the lab environment today, it is theoretically where we could take the a full production environment. Our value proposition is that we have experts with knowledge, experience in networking, and the intent is to with Red Hat Consulting is to provide deep investments within the cloud consulting practice. We have experienced consultants with industry-leading subject matter expertise. We have a large-scale, complex OpenStack deployments with Fortune 500 clients. We have field-proven methodology, utilizing best practices for open hybrid cloud solutions, and a strong relationship with Red Hat engineering and support teams. This slide just kind of shows an overview, and it shows an overview of some of the customers that we've worked with. For example, Union Bank has been a customer of ours since 2006. For them, we created a single portal for automated deployment and configuration, mass provisioning. We've eliminated a lot of their human touch points and given them a blueprint for automating their new IT processes. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this slide. So in the consulting practice, usually the team structure that we develop or deliver, we have kind of 3 main roles. We have a delivery manager, and they're responsible for the successful delivery of the overall solution. We have a cloud architect, and they oversee the design and implementation of the cloud, both cloud and the solution architecture. And then we have cloud consultants, which are responsible for leading the implementation activities. Those include application migration, automation workflows, third-party integrations, scripting, and providing all of their subject matter expertise. So this kind of reviews what the objectives and current state of the environment are. What we were looking to do is to increase speed and agility for you. We were looking to provide 2 availability zones for HA, and then we were looking to utilize Ceph for storage and redundancy. The training use cases that this would be used to achieve are training, dev store, self-contained environments, demo environments, and support environments. So for this approach, what we proposed was a RHEL OSP Director Lab, which would implement and provide a single pane of glass over your infrastructure. At a high level, the initiative included an architecture of both cloud infrastructure and an OpenStack platform, and implementation of a scalable, production-ready OpenStack cloud infrastructure. We leveraged a team of focused, on holistic approaches. So we had cross-functional people. We utilized a repeatable process, and we also implemented, just the cloud infrastructure OpenStack on this piece. This is kind of the solution components that we utilized for this deployment for this lab environment. We had one production OpenStack cluster, and that had an HA control plane based on RHEL OSP 7 that contained one physical host VM, 3 controller nodes, 2 compute nodes, and 2 separate availability zones, as well as 3 Ceph servers. We deployed the following services, and that was Horizon, Keystone, Horizon being the web UI, Keystone, which provides the authentication, Cinder, backed by a Ceph backend, and that's for our persistent storage, Nova Compute for our compute services, Glance for our images services, and within Glance we also we integrated a couple of images for you, including CloudForms, a Windows 2012 image, a RHEL 7 image, and we went ahead and provided a default password, as well as did a couple of application installs off of First Boot. We also integrated Neutron for all of the networking needs, and Heat for orchestration. The assumptions we made is that before the environment was that all hardware was racked and cabled prior to the inception. Live migration of guest VMs utilized VM fencing was enabled. VLAN-based networking with VXLAN. A Ceph storage backend again for the deployment, and the following images that we were going to install, as I said, RHEL 7, Windows 2012, Cirrus, and CloudForms image. This kind of shows the current and future state of what your environment could look like. So when we looked and analyzed what you were utilizing today, you had an environment that looked a lot like the image on the left. And what we hope to show and produce with this lab is that we could really take this environment and move it to something a lot more like on the right, taking categories like customization, dev store, your VMware update process, and really just kind of unifying them and putting them, just between our 2 products, being both OpenStack and Red Hat CloudForms. This really showed the timeline and cost summary of the implementation that we used. So we had a detailed discovery and design phase. We had a lab production and build out, and we had a production hardening and testing, in an agile based model. Just going through the summary of services. A 1 server RHEL Director OSP price. We still hadn't quoted the finalized price. As well as the Red Hat consulting services, which we put an estimate, even though that was gratis, of what that would have cost. And thank you for your time, and we hope you enjoy the environment.